the one, the only, Ben
Morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube Table Enabled Shulchan Aruch Yomi as we continue a new week in Shulchan Aruch Yomi Siman Reish Samech Aleph 261, which talks about maybe the most important halacha about Hilchot Shabbos. How long is Shabbos? Right? Bein Hashmashos, right? Between Shkias Hacham and Tzisuk Chavim, we're generally machmir in both directions, right? That's why if you ask people how long is Shabbos, the answer is not 24 hours. The answer is usually closer to 25 hours. If you're machmir for Rabbeinu Tam, it's more than 25 hours and 12 minutes. So it's really a problem. Why it shouldn't be 25 hours, one day a week. It's not 1+ day a week. And I want to elaborate that and talk more on Ian to lean on. I really believe it's 24 hours. We're going to talk about Tosefes Shabbos, adding on to Shabbos, very important. Siman 4 halachas. Aleph Savik HaShecha. You're not sure whether it's night or not. Mu ben hashmashos, right? The Gemara talked between the suns. Now, between the suns means that it's probably still light outside, right? V'hainu kidei shir hilach shlosha rivei mil achar shkaz hacham. This is the Torah. This is the opinion. Shlosha. How long is ben hashmashos? It's a machlokas rishonim, right? Rabbeinu Tam is the one who says dal milin. A mil, we understand, is 18 minutes. That's where you get 72 minutes. 4 mil is 72 minutes. That's where Rabbeinu Tam shita. The Ramah does not hold like that. The Gra is famous for this shita that really the time of ben hashmashos is only 3/4 of a mil. Now, if a mil is 18 minutes, so 3/4 of a mil is 13.5 minutes. That's it. 13.5 minutes. So once Shkia on Moshe Shabbos happens, you count 13.5 minutes, it's 24 hours and 13.5 minutes according to the Ramah. This is how the Ramah, we pass like the Ramah. We're machmir for Rabbeinu Tam the Shulchan Aruch, but really the Ramah is the Ashkenazim hold like. So really, technically, after 13.5 minutes, it's over Shabbos, no matter where you live. Even if it looks like it's light outside, it's over. So at that point, if it's ben hashmashos, ein ma'ashnas avada. The Gemara says you can't take out shuas and ma'asos at that point. Ve'ein matbilan es hakelim. You can't go ahead and be told vel kelim that are tmeim. Ve'ein madlikin es haneros. You can't light candles on Friday after Shkia. Ve'ein ma'arvin eruvei tchumen. You can't make eruvei tchumen. Aval ma'ashnas hadmai. If you have dmai, you can take out shuas and ma'asos. V'tomnin es hachamin. If you have hot water or a hot pot, you can insulate it with something which is not Mosif Hefel. If it's ain't no Mosif Hefel, you could. Because if it's Mosif Hefel, you can't even do it before Shabbos. So, Arvin Erev Chatzeros, you make Erev Chatzeros. Alright. So, the difference between these things, why some of these things are Mutter Ben Hashmashos, why some not. So, the difference is that there's two types of Yisurim D'Rabbanan. There's the D'Rabbanan, which is Mishum Shvus, which the Rabbanan felt the whole idea of the Raisa of Torah is to rest on Shabbos. And that's why the 39 malachos are asur. You should rest on Shabbos. By doing these creative activities, you're not resting on Shabbos. However, the Rabbanan felt necessary to enforce certain things that you should, on a rabbinic level, the Torah does not say everything, and the Rabbanan wanted to make sure there are certain things that come up in every generation. Even though the Torah didn't explicitly asur, the Rabbanan felt a need to strengthen the Torah. That's called a shvus. Shvus means abstain from it. That's stronger takan than what we call a gzeira or takana. Takana is something the Rabbanan added in so you shouldn't cut. So it should be similar, or you shouldn't, gzeira is you shouldn't come to do a malacha d'oraisa, which is not actually asur, it's just the Rabbanan said something in order you shouldn't come. So when it comes to Trumos and Ma'asos, that's tikkun. Take out Trumos and Ma'asos when you know no Trumos and Ma'asos are taken off, that's a shvus. Same thing, Tfilas Kalim, it's like tikkun mana. Maligas Haneros is for sure because that's a malacha of Havara, and Erevei Tchumen, the Gemara says that the whole point of Erevei Tchumen, we derived that is that you're supposed to have Shvisa, Makom Shvisa, right, where you stay on Shabbos. So the whole concept of you shouldn't leave your Tchum or make an Erevei Tchumen is because of the concept of Shvisa on Shabbos. However, D'mai, the Gemara says that Rov Amar is Ma'ason Heim. It's only a Chumra Midrabbanan, lest you come not think of Shumas Ma'asos on something which is Vadai Tevel. So that's a gzeira. But Tomnin es hacham, and the Gemara explained, you might find that, right, if you insulate it, you might find that it's sewn in, that it's cold, and you might come to stoke the coal and to turn up the fire, which is a gzeira. Marvin and Erevei Chatzeros, again, Erevei Chatzeros is a gzeira that if you don't have Erevei Chatzeros, you could come to metaltal from Shliachut or Zorabim. These are gzeiros, and therefore ben hashmashos we're more meko with the gzeiros over here, because ben hashmashos we'll see I'm going to talk more about this in Ian to lean on. Ben Hashmashos is a suffix d'oraisa. It's a suffix whether it's night or not, whether it's Shabbos or not. Suffix d'oraisa. Now, in suffix d'oraisa, we go l'chumra. They explain sometimes it's l'chumra midoraisa and sometimes it's l'chumra midorabanan. Here, before Ben Hashmashos came, it was day, right? So you're dealing with chazaka that it's day. We don't know what Ben Hashmashos is, so therefore it's definitely not ischazek yisura. There's no ischazek Shabbos yet. If there's a chazaka, the chazaka is that it was day. Previously, it was day. Ben Hashmashos we don't know, so it's not ischazek yisura. So if you want to go l'chumra, you say they don't want to l'chumra midorabanan. So if the trade derabbanan ain't goes in gzeira l'gzeira, you don't make a gzeira on a gzeira. When it's two derabbanan and one of them is a gzeira, you don't make it. That's why these things are mutter. And the Shulchan Aruch continues, the mutter lomer le'eni Yehudi ben hashmashos lahadlik ner l'sarach Shabbos v'chein lomer l'lasas kol malach she sarach mitzvah she utar v'nech bazaleh. The Gemara records the opinion of Rabbi that they weren't gozer on a shvus ben hashmashos as long as it's for a mitzvah, not gozer on a shvus, right? Ben hashmashos. As long as it's for Zarach mitzvah. So therefore, the reason being is that the whole reason of Shvus, right? Rabbanan said abstain from lachas, so basically to protect the sanctity of Shabbos, which is to rest on Shabbos. But if the point you're doing this for a mitzvah, so it's no longer under the category of Shvus, so therefore it's only one derabbanan by Ben Hashmashos, and therefore for Sorach mitzvah, they were not gozer. Let's say you're Makabel. We're going to learn you can even Makabel Shabbos from Plag on Mincha. So it's not really Shabbos yet for most people. It's Shabbos for you because you're Makabel Shabbos. That Kabbalah Shabbos is effective for you midoraisa. So we'll talk about Tosefes Shabbos. But I think if you accept Shabbos before Shabbos, it could be that Tosefes Shabbos is only Derabanan. Most Rishonim hold Tosefes Shabbos is Derabanan. So it's only Derabanan, just like Ben Hashmashos is Derabanan. So therefore, when it's the Sorach Mitzvah, right, the Rabbanan said that it's okay, the Sorach Mitzvah, because they weren't gozer on a Shvus. Ben Hashmashos is only the Sorach Mitzvah, because you're not doing it to violate resting on Shabbos, you're doing it for a different purpose. The Rabbanan were Mekel by a Derabanan. So there is Beis. Yesham Shesarach Lahosif Michal HaKodesh. Some say that you have to add Michal HaKodesh. Zman Tosefes Zehu Mitchilas Hashkia She'en Hashem Shneres HaLaretz Ad Zman Ben Hashmashos. Now Zman Zeh Shu Shlosha Milin V'Ravia Ratzal Asosa Kulo Tosefes Osa Ratzal Asosa Mimenu Mixas Osa Oivash he goes to Beis Zman Sheyeh Vada Yom Michal HaKodesh Shir Zman Ben Hashmashos Hu Shlosha Revei Mil Shei Mahalech Elev Chamish Meos Amos Kodem Alayla. So the Shulchan Aruch seemingly says something which is contradictory to the Ramah in Sif Aleph, that even though the Ramah said that Ben Hashmashos only lasts 13 and a half minutes, here this is the Shita. The Shulchan Aruch is following the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam says that Ben Hashmashos is Daled Milin. It's 4 million. There's two. He elaborates. There's two types of Ben Hashmashos. There's Ben Hashmashos, the first one, and the second one. The first one, it basically goes from Shkia Sachama, when the sun goes below the horizon, for 3.25 mil, which is, I guess, 18 times 3, which is 54, and a quarter of 18, which would be 13 and a half. So that would be, would be 4.5. So that would be 58.5 minutes. 58.5 minutes, that's called the first Ben Hashmashos. The second Ben Hashmashos is the last 13.5 minutes. And that, so we're machmir for Rabbeinu Tam to treat it as all 72 minutes. But it's not really what it is, because it's really, even according to Rabbeinu Tam, there's two Ben Hashmashos. It seems according to Rabbeinu Tam that it's not really night until the last 3/4 mil. The first 3.25 mil, right? The first 58.5 minutes is not night yet. It's not all Ben Hashmashos. It's subject to the din of Tosefes Shabbos. Right, you're supposed to add. We know Tosefes Yom Kippur. The Gemara says midoraisa. The Gemara says, right, we learn from a pasuk. The Gemara says in many places that Tosefes Yom Kippurim is Shabbos. The Gemara derives also that on other Yom Tovim and Shabbos is also an inyan of Tosefes Shabbos. The machlokes in the Rishonim whether it's deraisa or derabanan. Some say it's midoraisa on Shabbos. Some say it's midirabanan on Shabbos. So I'm going to discuss in Ian to lean on that I believe both are true. There is a Tosefes Shabbos which is deraisa by Shabbos, and there is a Tosefes Shabbos by Shabbos is the Rabbanan. What the Shulchan Aruch here is talking about, Tosefes Shabbos be Doraisa. Once Shkiel already hits, that 3.25 mil is the first Ben Hashmashos. It's not really Shabbos yet. right? That's why a lot of I remember growing up in a Hasidic shul around the corner, they would daven mincha on Shabbos way after Shkia. A lot of Hasidic communities daven after Shkia. They hold like Rabbeinu Tam. If you really held like Rabbeinu Tam, right, it's still considered on Friday afternoon. It's still considered chol until 58 and a half minutes after our Shkia. So you're pretty much safe over there. How good? The Ramah says, again, the Ramah adds in that if you want to accept Shabbos before Shkia Sachama, up to Plaga Mincha, which is an hour and a quarter before that, you can Makabal Shabbos. But I'm going to talk about this in Ian Talina, and I believe that this Tosei Shabbos is the Rabbanah. The one the Shulchan Aruch is talking about is the Raisa, and we'll talk about the ramifications for keeping 72 minutes, what I have to say about that Ian Talina. And Gimel, Mishayno Baki Bashir is that someone who's not precise, he doesn't understand, he doesn't know exactly when, they don't have calendars, they don't have a luach to tell you exactly when Shkia Sachama is, or when the different opinions of when Shkia Sachama is. Yadlik Ba'ochi Hashemesh Barosh HaYilanis. The Gemara says you should make sure, you should light candles when the sun is already setting. It's basically reached where the trees are. It almost set. There's a cloudy that you can't see the sun. Yadlik Shetar Nagol Yoshma Akura Bod Yom. I guess you're in a farm. The chickens, they go sit on, instead of flying around or moving around, they go sit on the fence. When the ravens, there's no chickens, you're not around your farm, you have the ravens in the field. When they go onto the trees and sit down, that's a sign that the sun is about to set. So you light your candle before that because you want to do Adlakas Neros before Shabbos. After Baruch started, meaning the kila that you're in, the shul that you're in started Baruch Hu, or if you're in a city where there's only one shul and they start Baruch Hu, even though we said Ben Hashmashos, certain things you're allowed to do, that's only if you were not Makabal Shabbos. But once you're Makabal Shabbos early, right, you can't do these things. You can't make Erev Chatzeros, you can't do Atmana. Uludida on heavy Amiras Mizmar Shirley Amashavas Keniyas Baruch Uludidu. He adds in the name of the Beis Yosef that even actually before Baruch, once you say Mizmar Shirley Amashavas after Lechadodi, so therefore it's already like your Makabal Shabbos, and that's the halacha. That's already considered a Kabbalah Shabbos. If you do that, they make it early Shabbos before Shkia Tzachama, that counts. Or if you do it, after Shkia, you started saying Kabbalah Shabbos. Once you hit Mizmar Shirley Amashavas, that's considered Kabbalah Shabbos, and even though it's technically in the period of Ben Hashmashos, you can't do those Gzeros and Takanas Derabanan that we said are allowed normally during Ben Hashmashos. That's the conclusion of today's share. Stay tuned for Ian Talina, where I talk about the two types of Tosefah Shabbos. I believe there's two types of Tosefah Shabbos. One is Doraisa, one is Derabanan. What exactly is the share of Ben Hashmashos? Because it's really not clear. The Ramah says one thing, the Shulchan Aruch says one thing. What I believe, the true halacha, there's a lot of confusion about this. Shabbos is really supposed to be 24 hours, not 25 hours that most people are makabel upon themselves. Try to resolve the Ramah and the Shulchan Aruch, put them together. Ian Talina coming up next.